Hey everybody, Unstable Gamer here, and welcome back to another Disney Sorcerer's Arena video. And in this video, we're going to be talking about the top 10 best characters in the game, and we're going to be talking about the updated tier list that is posted on the Discord, which I'll have a link in the description below. So we got a lot to discuss, so let's go ahead and get into it. But first, before we do, if you're just now finding this channel and you want to stay up to date with this and other games, consider hitting that subscribe button so you don't miss out. All right, and welcome back. Okay, so we have a lot to go into, but first, just a couple things to discuss and point out before we get into all this. Number one, if you want to help the channel, if you want to support the channel, hit that like button if you like this content and you want to see more of it. And if you keep coming back because you like what's here, hit that subscribe button. Two easy ways to help support the channel and get the channel out there in the YouTube-verse. All right, so with that being said, let's go ahead and take a look at the top 10 best characters in the game, and there's been a bit of a change. I'm sure that was expected. There's been a little bit of a change. We have 3 characters that are no longer in the top 10. So we're gonna go ahead and jump into that right now, and then we're gonna get into the updated tier list, which I'm very excited to talk about. So let's go ahead and jump into my roster. This is completely, I have to preface it, this is completely my opinion and through my experiences in the game and what has worked really well for me. Wanted to share that with everybody. And this is in no particular order. So number 1 is not the best, number 10 is not the worst, or vice versa. It's just in order in which I put it. So everybody on this list is very usable. Everybody on this list will help you in the game. And 5 of the characters are in my PvP team. So that tells you something. All right, so let's go ahead and start with Aladdin. So Aladdin stays in the top 10, a very good character. He's a self-healing attacker. He does massive damage. He has a slow with carpet. Very good character to get really early on in the game, and that is going to carry you into the end game. He's a very important part of my PvP team, both in the arena as well as in Sorcerer's Tournament. He's also very useful in a lot of other game modes, such as he's great with the Kingdom team when you pair him up with Shan Yu. The Kingdom team you need for Sally's Potions, which is an event that's going on right now. So very useful character. You will not regret investing in him, and he will do you proud for a long time. Plus, he's got some nice synergies. He's got some nice synergies with Ariel with the slow. He also has some nice synergy with Jasmine. So very good character to invest in. So definitely in the top 10. Next character is going to be Sorcerer Mickey. He was in the top 10 last month. He's in the top 10 this month. And what makes this guy so good? Again, he's got a slow. It's an AoE slow that comes into play very well. He's got some nice damage. He also has some very nice speed. So where I have him right now, I do have him geared up a little bit. Look at his speed right now. He's at 117. I mean, very quick on the go. Usually one of the top 2 characters who are going to go first when you go into any battle. He's very useful on the Kingdom team, as he's a Kingdom character. He's in my PvP team, in Arena, and in Sorcerer's Tournament. He's also useful, very useful in the tower. I also have Aladdin in the tower as well. So all these 2 characters so far, very early to get, very useful in the late game. And one thing that's really cool to see in a game is sometimes, or a lot of times, what I've noticed is the characters that you get early on, they tend to fizzle out really quickly and not be as useful in the end game. So it's nice to have some characters that you're able to get from the start and know that you can invest in them and they're going to do you well in the end game. So very good character to get and keep in the top 10. Next is going to be Mor'du, one of, if not the best tank of the game, and it's mainly because of his utility. So obviously he's got his taunt, he has a stun, which is great, he has a counter, which is great, he has a ton of health, he's at 17k health, his offense is okay. But you are going to use this guy in every single game mode. You're going to use him in Arena. You're going to use him in the Tower. You're going to use him in Sorcerer Tournament. You're going to use him in the Challenges. You're going to use him absolutely everywhere. So he is a Wilds character as well, which is why he's useful in the Tower. Very good character to add to your roster and get him as soon as you can. Now, in order to get this guy, you need to farm him out of the exchange store And even with being as good as he is the second character that I recommend that you farm out of that exchange store. First one being Shan Yu, second one being Mor'du, and then the third one being Hades. And the reason for that is because Shan Yu and Mor'du is going to make a greater impact on your roster than Hades is. Hades is great. He's fantastic. He has massive damage. He's very, very good as well. But you have other characters in the game that do quite a bit of damage as well, single target and AoE damage. But these two characters here, Shan Yu and Mor'du, going to make a really positive impact to your roster really early on, and then carry you into the end game very well. So Mor'du, you're going to want this guy. New to the top 10 is Hades. A lot of people asked me why Hades was not in April's top 10. So the main focus of April's top 10 were top 10 characters that you're going to be able to farm quickly and use in every game mode really quickly. This top 10 here, now that I have the farming guide out, so if you haven't seen that video, I do have a farming guide out that recommends specific teams to farm early in the game and who they are, so that you can take advantage of all the different aspects of the game. If you haven't seen that, I'll go ahead and put a link to it right up there. Definitely check that out. There's also an update to that coming soon. In that video, there's also a link in the description that will take you to the spreadsheet that I share in that video so that you can download it and take a look at it. I do have an update coming really quickly on that one, actually. All right, so Hades. What's so great about Hades? Hades does some massive damage. He does massive AoE damage. He does great flanking damage. And when you get his health down below, I think it's what, below 50%? Hold on, his passive here. What is this? On turn start, if below 50% health, remove stun from self. This character has abilities that become ignite empowered while health is below 50% health. When it falls there, you increase the speed meter by 30% too. Plus, you do just a massive amount of damage. So instead of a single fireball, you are blasting 3 different fireballs, and it's not just a one target. It is kind of an AoE type attack, hitting 3 different characters. So it doesn't matter who might have taunt or what. Fantastic character. Definitely want to get him. And my recommendation remains the same every single time I'm asked, should I farm Shan Yu all the way up to 7-star first, then Mor'du, or what is that? In my opinion, as soon as you unlock Shan Yu, switch over to Mor'du. As soon as you unlock Mor'du, switch over to Hades. That way you have all 3 of them unlocked, and you can start using them and get familiar with their kits so that you can use them in the greater portion of the game, which is going to be in PvP, it's going to be in Tower, it's going to be in all aspects of the game, and you'll get familiar with it, and they'll do very well for you. So Hades, a fantastic character, definitely one. And new to the top 10, next is going to be Ariel. Ariel is still in here. The reason why is because she is the best healer in the game. Now, I'm going to say arguably the best healer in the game because a lot of people think that Dr. Facilier is probably the best healer in the game. Well, when you take a look at heroes and villains, you've got the best healers in the game right there. Ariel for heroes. You got Dr. Facilier for villains. She's a fantastic character. She has some nice synergy with Aladdin or anybody that does slow, because her basic will do a chain attack to any characters that are affected by slow. Her heal is okay. Now I hear that they are going to be doing they're going to be taking a look at the healers, and I think that's a very good thing to do. Her heal's a little lackluster. It does help a little bit, but really, she's tanky for a healer. She has this nice passive right here. On turn, 15% chance to grant a random teammate Triton's Boon for 1 turn. And what Triton's Boon is, it gives you 30% offense increase and 30% speed meter increase. And then on damage, you're going to inflict slow for 2 turns. So nice little buff right there. It is only a 15% chance, so it doesn't kick in every now and then, but when it does kick in, it's kind of nice. She's very good more for the PvE aspects of the game, so you don't want to do in live PvP or Sorcerer's Tournament, anything like that, but she's very good for that. She's also Oceanic, which is why I use her in the Tower as well, because the Tower is going to require some Oceanic characters, and she's one of the ones that I recommend for that. So great character, a tanky healer. Definitely needs some work on the healing aspect of her, but she works out very well. Someone you can get early on and use to carry you through the different game modes, PvE specifically. Next, we've been talking about this guy a couple of times already, but Shan Yu. Shan Yu is fantastic. Now, I've been talking about this a little bit in my live streams and with people. I feel Shan Yu is going to be short-lived. I think something might happen, and they're going to have to nerf him hit him with that Nerf bat just a little bit, because the speed team with Shan Yu right now is way overpowered and really is the only meta in the game right now if you want to continue on. I mean, just take a look at the upper levels of Arena, and most of the teams that you face in Arena and Sorcerer's Tournament are teams with Shan Yu and are Kingdom teams. So I think something's going to happen here. So if you have him, great. Use him while you can. I think something's coming. That's just me. That's my 2 cents. But the reason why he's so good. So he's got a fantastic flanking ability. Doesn't do a ton of damage, but it does do defense debuff. And that's with this guy right here. Damage to the target, and you have defense down for 2 turns. 50% chance for this character to gain offense up for 2 turns as well. So not only are you doing some damage, minor, but also inflicting that defense down and having a chance to get offense up for you. He doesn't do a ton of damage, really. Not a massive amount. He does a decent amount of damage, though. Also, another cool thing about this guy is this right here. When you take out a character on the opposing team, then you automatically get a speed bar refill and you can get a second attack. So you definitely want to use that to your advantage. Fantastic right there. And then obviously this right here, his leader skill right there. 8% bonus speed, Kingdom teammates. That's what they get. That's why the team is so good. And that is why I think we're going to see something change. I think, just me here thinking, that's probably going to come down to about a 4 or 5% if they keep the speed thing in there. So it'll be interesting to see. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. But I think in order to balance things out, I think that's something that's going to happen. But while it's in-game now, definitely going to be best. Even if the speed was low, he's a great character to have because of everything else that we've talked about. With the defense down, the chance on the offense up, things like that. Bow to me. On dealing a critical strike with any attack, perform the following. You're going to reduce target speed meter by 30%, 35%. Another reason why this guy is so good. So, I mean, fantastic guy. You're not gonna regret investing in him and maxing him out as quickly as you can. I still think unlock him first, then Mor'du, then Hades, then go to get him the next star level or 2, and then go to Mor'du, get Mor'du to the next star level 2. I'm leveling them up star-wise and gear-wise pretty evenly because all 3 of them are in my PvP team and they do a fantastic job. Definitely, obviously, they get stronger as you put more stars into them. So, all right, next, we've talked about him early on. Dr. Facilier, fantastic character. Great healing in the game because every time you take a character out, once you unlock his passive down there, or his passive right here, every single time that you take a character out, you're going to heal your teammates. Also restore 15% bonus health per downtown villain team, which is why he is critical in your downtown villain team, which is going to be him and Big Bad Wolf and Demona, Zurg, those characters there. Syndrome. Fantastic character. He's going to do you well in your villain campaign. He's also going to do very well for you in the Towers of Endurance. Just a great character to have on there. He also has a polymorph that works really well. It doesn't stick around too long, but if you've got somebody who is about to attack, you watch in the speed meter, and you know something big's coming, you can go ahead and polymorph that character, and then they're not going to be able to do anything for at least that 1 turn. So I don't use him a whole lot in PvP. Actually, I don't use him at all in PvP. I have kind of experimented with him a little bit. But similar to Ariel, I feel he's more of a PvE-centric character and does very well in those game modes. So definitely one that you're going to want to have. You need him for Zurg as well. You need those downtown villains. Next, we have Big Bad Wolf. Big Bad Wolf is a fantastic downtown villain to get. You get him really early on. He hits hard. He has a nice AoE damage. He is a self-healing attacker, and I love those types of characters. Self-healing attackers, self-healing tanks. That just does a great job with survivability. So a couple things to point out with him. You have Huff and Puff, which does very good AoE damage. You have In Sheep's Clothing, which is a nice hit, as well as gives him health based on the amount of damage that he causes. And then you have Big Bad Punch. And for a basic, this is pretty good. Damage to target opponent, 50% bonus critical strike chance if the target's health is below 70%. So a little bit of strategy there. And then guaranteed to deal critical strike if the target's health is below 50%. So that's a nice basic right there to have. Something that works well with Peter's Shadow, which is kind of a a very situational spell that allows you to copy one of your teammates and only allows them to use a basic. Big Bad Wolf is great to use with that because his basic is so good. So very good there. And then right here, I do like his passive. Damage dealt against hero characters is increased by 25%. So you get an increased damage whenever you go up against a hero team. And then on defeat hero opponent. On defeat hero opponent with any ability increase magic of all abilities by 1. That's pretty good. Taking out a hero opponent and then you get that increase of magic abilities. Very nice. Nice helps with that cooldown. All right, so now we're down to the final 2 in the top 10. We talked about one of the new additions to the top 10. These next 2 are brand new additions, so let's go ahead and talk about them right now. The next one is going to be Dash. This guy, so when The Incredibles came out, there was a lot of... I was worried a little bit because nobody on the team really seemed absolutely fantastic. But there's 2 characters that really stood out for me. Number 1 is Dash. Dash, once you get him leveled up, once you get him up to gear tier 5 and you unlock this passive right here, on gaining a charge, increase speed bar by 10%. So gaining a single charge gives you 10% speed bar. So that means if you attack and get a full 10 charges, that's 100% speed bar right there, and allows you to take a second chance, which is why he works so well with his mother, Elastigirl, who gives an increased critical strike chance. So his critical strike chance is through the roof. It's absolutely fantastic. One thing that I've noticed is when paired with Elastigirl, he'll easily get 8 to 10 charges. If Elastigirl is not part of the in the group, then he will typically get, for me, anywhere between 5 and 8 charges. So just a little bit of comparison there with and without Elastigirl. But this guy does a great job. He's quick. I love watching this guy on ×3. Too bad you can't do that during live PvP, but he is so fun to watch. I mean, that's kind of really what he's supposed to look like when he's running around and doing everything. So he does some great damage. He does nice AoE damage, speed bar increase. Very, very cool. One thing to watch out for him is as he evades, he's going to lose a charge. So the more that you attack him, that's kind of his weak spot. So if you go up against a team with Dash, you want to hit Dash hard and knock down his charges so that he doesn't do as much damage once his ultimate goes into play, and kind of makes your opponent wait for those charges to go ahead and get back up there. So you definitely want to protect him because he's squishy. He's very squishy. He's what I would consider a glass cannon. Does some nice massive damage. Great kit, but you really have to protect him and keep everybody away. That's why when it comes to placement, I will keep him on the opposite side of my team as my tank is, and make sure that I have my taunt going so that I can protect this guy. All right, so that is Dash. Great character to get. You can only get him with the Incredibles event, so he is a little bit difficult to get. He's also one of the most expensive characters in the game to get. I think in total, and don't tell my wife this, but in total, the whole Incredibles team was about $170. It was $170 for that whole team. And I did that on purpose because I wanted to see what it would cost to get the team, and then I really wanted to see what the team could do together once you have them all together. And then the other character that stuck out to me is Violet. I've talked about her a little bit. I think she's a little underrated. She's not fantastic. This guy here, Dash, is the shining star of this team. Violet, very much underrated, I believe, because she is fantastic when it comes to a support character in the game and giving the defense up. I think maybe some little tweaks to improve her a little bit is needed, but she does serve a purpose there. So I have a hard time swapping her out for Frozone. Anyway, so just a couple thoughts there. Now, the final character in the top 10, and I was asked why this character was not in here on the last one, but it's Zurg. Zurg, a fantastic character. He does some very nice single target damage, but he also does some very nice splash damage, some adjacent damage when on turn. So where is it? Right here. Massive, right here. On turn start, deal up to 695 damage to opponent with the highest health percentage, chain to all other opponents, dealing up to 612 damage. So on start, he's going to go ahead and he's going to cause some damage right away. His rapid ion blaster there does some massive damage. And similar to Shan Yu, once he takes a character out, boom, he gets an extra turn, which again maximizes your damage for the team. Great character to have in your roster as well, and one that I fully intend on investing in. You can only get him during the, I think it's the Queen of Hearts event. What is it? I can't remember the name of the event, but you need the downtown villains for this guy. Once you get this guy, then you can put him on that downtown villains team and then use him in his own event and unlock some more, get some more pieces so that you can level and gear this guy up. He's got some great utility, and he is a lot of fun. He is a lot of fun to watch in a match. So there you go, everybody. That is the top 10. These characters are going to do you well in any aspect of the game, save for Dr. Facilier and Ariel, who are more geared towards the PvE aspect. But they're going to do you well. You're not going to have any remorse at all investing in these characters. So there you go. That's my top 10. Very interested to hear your thoughts. And who did I miss? Who's your favorite? And what do you think about the changes made from the April top 10 to the May top 10? All right. So with that, we do have, now the video's going long. I know, as I did with the last time, I will have links in the description below so you can take a look at whoever you want to take a look at. But now we're going to go ahead. We're going to jump over and take a look at the brand new updated tier list, and I do have some announcements to make as far as my own tier list coming up. So let's go ahead and jump over there, and we'll talk about it. All right, and here we go. So this is the official Disney Sorcerer Arena Discord. I'll put a link in the description below as well, and where you can find the updated tier list. Now, this is put together by Disney Titans. You got Ludgate and Danny and a couple other people putting these lists together, and they've done a fantastic job of it. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at them. So Danny, Ludgate, all of you guys, thank you so much for putting this stuff together. It's been very, very helpful for everybody, I'm sure. So you go into the character discussion, and you go to pinned right here, and then you can see the different tier lists. So we're going to go over the character tier list real quick, and then we're going to take a look at the spell tier list. And then I have some updates of my own, actually. So I'm gonna put my own tier list together, and it will be based off. I'm gonna use these tier lists here as the base because they're well known, they're very well put together, and I agree with 99.9% of it. There's just a couple things that I would change as far as placement goes, just from my own preference, not anything against anything of anybody. Fantastic work that's been put into this, and it's helped, like I said, a lot of people. So, but I have put together my own farming guide, and in that guide, that whole spreadsheet is going to turn into a whole book. I'm going to add the tier lists in there, and then we're also going to have all of my top 10s in there, as far as from the first top 10, and every monthly top 10 will be available in there for anybody who wants to see what previous top 10s were, and then what's the most current top 10, because we will be doing these monthly. All right, so with the character tier list here, a lot of this stuff stayed the same for the most part. So a few call outs here. Dash was added in the excellent category. One thing also to preface these lists with is just because you see someone down here at a void or poor or whatever, doesn't mean that they're not good in their own right, in the right team for the right situation of the game. The lower you get down on the list, it's just really more situational that character is. Not that they're bad in any way, just more situational, and you got to be a little bit more choosy when you put them together in a specific team. The higher you go on the list, the more usability you're going to get out of these characters, more game modes are going to be used in, and things like that. So with that being said, we have Dash that was added into excellent. Dash is fantastic. I agree that he belongs in this category. Like we talked about with him in the top 10, great character to have. Difficult and expensive to get if you want to put money on him. You can unlock him for free, obviously, going through the event. You're just going to have to go through that event more than once. Twice, maybe 3 times if you want to go ahead and unlock him and then continue to level him up. But great character to have in there. Also, we see Frozone moved up, so he was here in the avoid column, and with his rework, I figured that we would see him go up the list a little bit, and we did. So he's up now here into this poor section up here. As I discussed in briefly in the top 10 and in the video that I did with Frozone, there's some debate on whether he's a good substitute for Violet. You know where I stand with Violet. I think really for me, I would prefer to have her on that team than Frozone. And if you even take a look at this, Violet is actually over here. Violet falls in the situational, along with I think there was some, along with Elastigirl there. And then Jack Jack over here in the great category. Now him I haven't put a lot into yet. Just unlocked him towards the tail end of that event. A fun team, though. A fun team, definitely, to play around with. And I've seen a lot of people test them in the arena. So here we go. At the very top, you got Shan Yu, Mor'du, Zurg, and Hades. That's the same as what they were last month. I think you see a swap between Hades and Zurg. Zurg was at the bottom. He's moved up a little bit. Great character to have, as we discussed. And as you know, all 4 of those characters there are in the top 10. And then those are really the main call-outs. I wanted to really make sure that you knew where to get this list, and also let you know that I'll have mine put together for the next top 10 for June. But if you already have a link to the farming guide that I put together, you'll see the changes there before the video come out. So definitely keep an eye on that, because that's going to be updated fairly soon and continue to be updated until we get to June. So there we go with that. And then next, so we didn't cover this last time. We're going to cover it just super fast here as far as spells. I get plenty of questions on which are the best spells to get. And for me, specifically, Blue Fairy Magic, Splash, Bounce, and Foul Play. Those are the top 3. Those are the ones that I'm using the most. And I understand why people like Golden Hammer. I don't see a lot of people use it, though. I see it here and there, but more often you see Blue Fairy, you see Splash Mountain, you see Foul Play, you see Wild Imagination. I think Wild Imagination... Wild Imagination is on the edge there of great and excellent, in my opinion, because there's great synergy with that spell and with the continuous damage there and Hades. And then also with Wild Imagination, you have the heal block, which comes into play, because you do still see quite a bit of healers in PvP, and it just blocks that for a quick second. And then also, I like Peanut Pummel a lot because of the AoE blind. I would actually move Peanut Pummel up to the bottom of great, because this is in order of preference as far as best down to least suggested for each category. Peanut Pummel, I'd probably move him to great. I use that because of the mass blind. It works well for me in the tower in other situations. I can understand why it would be under situational. I just like it. I like it more. That's all. There we go. That's the tier lists. All right, everybody. That's what I had for you today. Not a quick video, but definitely some great information. And I think that everything that we discuss here today will do you well and help you be successful in the game and just feel comfortable with what to invest in. Very interested to hear you guys' thoughts on this, the tier lists and the top 10. Definitely let me know in the comment section. And as always, I want to thank you all for taking the time to watch the video. If you liked it, make sure to hit that like button and share your thoughts and questions in the comment section below. Take care, everybody, and we'll talk to you next time.